Hello, welcome to News Now on TV360. I am Fidelia Aguncha. We begin with news of an attack in Nigeria's northeastern state of Adamawa. Boko Haram insurgents have attacked a remote Wano village, burning homes, crops and livestock. The death toll is so far unconfirmed, with witnesses putting it between 2 and 5. Security operatives are yet to release an official statement on the attack. It comes just days after 50 people were killed in an attack at a mosque in Adamawa's commercial hub of Mubi. An urgent evacuation plan has been devised for migrants facing abuse in Libyan detention camps. It was drawn up at an African Union-European Union summit in Ivory Coast. The summit has been dominated by talks on how to solve the growing migrant crisis, which has been intensified by the discovery of a slave camp in Libya. Libya's UN-backed administration joined the agreement, but has only limited control over the territory, raising questions about how it will work in practice. According to the African Union, about 3,800 African migrants need to be evacuated from Libya. The migrants will be sent mainly back to their home countries. Meanwhile, the Nigerian government is also working on ways to repatriate its citizens back from Libya. The government has set up a committee to begin the process. The decision to set up the committee was the resolution of a meeting between Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, the National Agency for Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons (NAPTIP), National Emergency Management Agency (NEMA), and the Refugee Commission. The meeting was in reaction to President Muhammadu Buhari's pledge that his administration would evacuate the remaining Nigerians stranded in Libya while attempting to cross the Mediterranean to Europe. Still on the migrant crisis, a coalition of civil society organizations in Nigeria on Thursday observed a peaceful sit-out right in front of the Libyan embassy in Nigeria. The group is condemning the situation in Libya, describing it as unacceptable. They are asking the Nigerian government, her Libyan counterpart and other stakeholders to take decisive measures to solve the problem.
It's not just enough to say you are sending planes to bring back the people. Our government must find the root cause to why this is happening. You understand? Our government must do more to protect the Nigerian people. You understand? Because the goal and objective is for that no Nigerian should ever be subjected to this kind of treatment. Because a situation where Nigerians or fellow Africans are hung, burnt alive, dehumanized and sold for as less as $400. Because that's not even up to the price of an iPhone. An iPhone is about $1,000. So when you now begin to sell human beings for 132,000 naira, it tells you that we have failed as a government, we have failed as a people, and we have failed as a continent and as a generation.
What we're doing is trying to call attention to the matter and to give it the exposure it needs, and to say to the leadership of the country that they have failed because they are busy talking about 2019, not about the future of young people in this country. The cause, the root cause, why young people are fleeing their fatherland in search of greener pastures. Because this is a country where dreams die. This is a country where young people, their future has been mortgaged. Forget it. And I'm saying to the young people that if they don't do something about their future, they don't have any future in this country anymore. And this is going to get worse. So we're telling our irresponsible government, irresponsible leaders who have messed up, who have brought leadership down to an all-time low, a mediocre level, that it's time. The game is up.
Make way for us. We are not asking too much. Just make better living for us. Give us means. Teach us how to fish. Don't give us fish. Because the generation where we are, they are giving us fish.
Humanitarian crisis around the world will worsen next year, with no let-up in civil wars in Africa, near famine in war-torn regions, and the threat of extremist Islamist violence. This is according to the report by a Geneva-based think tank ACAPS. The report says Ethiopia will join northeast Nigeria, Somalia, South Sudan, and Yemen as places at risk of famine in 2018. According to the report, rather than bringing stability, the prospect of elections in Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya, South Sudan and Venezuela is expected to increase tensions and fuel violence. President Muhammadu Buhari's request to have the 2018 budget passed before January has taken a major blow. The Senate has postponed its debate on the 2018 to 2020 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper till next Tuesday. The MTEF prepared by the Budget Ministry must be approved by the Senate before a budget is passed. It was referred to the Senate Committee on Appropriation and National Planning, who have completed work on the budget. However, consideration of the report was postponed on Thursday following the absence of the committee chairman, John Eno. Eno is currently at the ongoing Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries OPEC meeting convened to determine the cap oil output from Nigeria. Oil marketers in Nigeria's southwest region have threatened a fresh strike action unless the government agrees its demand. The Ogun State and Lagos State chapter of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria is accusing the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) of breach of agreement. In a statement, the Lagos State chairman of IPMAN complained about the shortage of product supply to Ejigbo Satellite Depot, which he said serves more than 900 filling stations in Lagos. He wants the government to address the issue before December 11 or face a fresh strike action. Union Bank of Nigeria PLC has challenged the permanent forfeiture of the property known as Flat 7B, 16 Osborne Road, Ikoyi, Lagos. It's the property linked to the dismissed Director General of the National Intelligence Agency, Ayodele Oke. The sum of 13 billion naira was discovered from their apartment by anti-graft agency EFCC. At the Federal High Court sitting in Lagos on Thursday, Union Bank laid claims to the flat and the building. According to the bank, the home became its possession following a mortgage agreement between the bank, the original owner of the property, former PDP chairman Adamu Mwazu, and AAA Properties Investments. With the recent crisis surrounding the payment of the Ikoyi whistleblower, Nigeria's Minister of Finance, Kemi Adeosun, has revealed the government will pay only one whistleblower the sum of 421 million naira. Multiple claimants had emerged claiming to have provided the tip-off, which led to the discovery of the money. Reacting to the development, Adeosun said the government will only pay the informant that signed the agreement which led to the recovery of the stash fund. The Nigerian government has denied claims that former chairman of the Presidential Pension Reform Tax Team, Abdulrasheed Maina, is still on its payroll. This is in reaction to reports by Maina's lawyer Muhammad Kantu, who claims the embattled civil servant still receives his monthly salary and even treats official cases in the civil defense. Finance Minister Kemi Adeosun and the Accountant General of the Federation, Ahmad Idris, debunked the claims while speaking at a hearing organized by an ad hoc committee of the House of Representatives to investigate Maina's reinstatement. According to the government officials, Maina was last paid in February 2013. Still on the Maina scandal, the acting chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Ibrahim Magu has also been testifying before the House of Reps Committee. Ibrahim Magu dismissed the claims that the Commission is in possession of some of the properties recovered by the then Minor Committee. He challenged Maina to provide evidence of the properties he claimed are with the EFCC. The Nigerian police says its officials have killed 2 cattle rustlers in a shootout along the Kaduna-Abuja highway. A statement from the police spokesperson Jima Moshood said the operation, which was carried out by officers attached to Operation Absolute Sanity, also recovered 413 cattle from the bandits. The operation followed intelligence report of the hideout of suspected cattle rustlers at a location inside Kagago Forest, Kaduna State. Also recovered from the rustlers are 50 sheep, 2 locally made AK-47 rifles, and 1 pump-action gun.
Corruption not in my country.
Hello. Alahaji. Right now I'm in Abuja. No. Hello? Adamu. Right now I'm in Kano. Yes. When I get back, I'll just call you. Look, what is wrong with you? I'm talking on the phone and you are gesticulating and doing. What's wrong with you?
Daddy, where exactly are we as we speak?
Are you alright? This is Lagos.
Well, you just lied to someone that we're in Abuja.
Keep quiet there. Who told you can tell an elderly person is lying?
Daddy, you just lied. And by lying, you're raising corrupt children for the future of Nigeria. That is corruption, not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
Welcome back. Let's look at business stories with Ngozi Okoye.
Thank you, Fidelia. Nigeria's foreign exchange has moved up 3% to $34.53 billion. This is according to data from the central bank. The bank, however, did not provide the reason for the increase in reserve, which stood at $33.58 billion at the same month last month. On the other end, Nigeria's forex buffer has climbed 40.5% this year from a year ago, but is still far off $65 billion hit in August 28. Minister of Finance Kemi Adeosun has revealed the federal government received $110 million from two firms under the Voluntary Asset and Income Declaration Scheme, VADES. Adeosun made this known to journalists after the Federal Executive Council meeting on Wednesday. The federal government had in July announced a 9-month amnesty window for tax defaulters to help regularize tax payments and yield increased revenue. Adeosun said the government might exceed its $1 billion target with the response gotten so far. She said a total of 1.5 billion naira will be spent on advertising to sensitize tax-paying Nigerians. OPEC agreed on Thursday to extend oil production cuts until the end of 2018. The agreement in principle was reached after several hours of debate at OPEC headquarters in Vienna. A delegate said OPEC was still discussing whether to cap the oil output of Libya, which had been exempted from production cuts due to unrest. The 14-member Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries will still meet non-OPEC producers led by Russia later on Thursday to approve the extension of joint production cuts. Now to stock. The Nigerian stock market today continued an uptrend third day in a row. All share index appreciated by 0.62%, closing in 37,944.60 basis points. Also, the equity capitalization saw an increase of over 80 billion naira. On the gainers list was Fort Oil again, who was also at that list yesterday, appreciating further by 6.46%. Total, 7up and Dangote Cement was also among the top 4 gainers. And onto the losers table, the consumer service industry sadly made the top 3 on that list, with Nigeria Breweries, Guinness, and Flour Mill Nigeria PLC eaching down by 3.92, 1.09, and 1.47% respectively. Also, EcoBank experienced a price drop. The top 4 traders in terms of volume were Transnational Corporation of Nigeria, Fidelity Bank, First Bank of Nigeria Holding, and Zenith Bank. Transcorp saw as much as 11 billion shares. Activities in the market saw 11.770 billion shares sold at 21.384 billion naira in 5,152 deals. And that's it on business news. We will return with foreign and sports stories. Stay with us.
Corruption not in my country.
What is wrong with kí ló máa ń ṣe iná? Tẹ́tẹ́ wá dúró for more than 1 hour.
Ìyá mi, ọ̀rọ̀ yín náà ni mò ń ṣe. Ọ̀rọ̀ yín náà ni mò ń ṣe. Ká kúrò fún Ọlọ́run. Ká satisfy yín níbi ọ̀rọ̀ yín náà ni mò ń ṣe.
Ẹ wo jẹ́ ká lọ jàre ká kúrò ń bí báyìí.
Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ má bínú. Hello ọ̀gá, màá dọ́dọ̀ yín lẹ́sẹ̀ yìí. I am assure you 5 minutes màá dọ́dọ̀ yín ẹ gbà bẹ́ẹ̀.
You are deceiving another customer just like you deceived
The
us.
same way he deceived us.
Eh? Why?
Ètò ní iṣẹ́ yìí bó o bá kúrò ò lè jẹun ò lè jẹun bó o bá kúrò ò lè jẹun ìyá mi bó o bá kúrò ò lè jẹun. Workshop mi lélẹ́yìí ibi tí èèyàn bá ti ń ṣe ló ti ń jẹ ìyẹn ló ń pè ní workshop ibi tó bá ti ń work ní kó má ti shop.
Ego, you cannot base your business on lies. Koda now, it is corruption and it cannot work. Not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
Welcome back. The U.S. military did not kill any civilians when it accompanied Somali forces on a deadly raid in August. This is according to the U.S. African Command in its first public statement on the findings from an investigation into the raid. The two-paragraph statement referred to a joint raid by U.S. and Somali troops on the village of Barire. The U.S. military denied that any civilians were killed, although it did not offer any details on the investigation. UK Prime Minister Theresa May says Donald Trump was wrong to retweet posts from a British far-right group. The UK Prime Minister, however, stressed the special relationship between Britain and the US was in both nations' interest and should continue. May also rejected calls to cancel a state visit by the US president. Meanwhile, Trump has replied to the UK Prime Minister, telling her to focus on terrorism in Britain. Moving on to sports now, Super Eagles coach Gunnar Raw has admitted he is still searching for a new striker for the national team. In an interview, Raw said he is still looking for the best players for the Nigerian senior team. He also opened the door to China-based striker Obafemi Martins, whose last appearance for the Eagles was in 2015. The Super Eagles are one of Africa's 5 representatives to the World Cup in Russia. Meanwhile, the Super Eagles will know their group opponent on Friday. The draws will be held in Moscow, capital of Russia. The Eagles have been placed in pot 4 and are facing the likelihood of being placed in the same group as the previous 2 World Cup winners, Germany and Spain. Both countries are in pot 1 and 2 respectively, as are Brazil and England. Africa's other representatives are Tunisia, Egypt and Senegal, who are in pot 3, while Morocco is also in pot 4 alongside Nigeria. The International Olympic Committee says it has placed a live ban on 3 Russian bobsledders over doping allegations related to the 2014 Sochi Olympics. The IOC is retesting all Russian athlete samples from the event after Grigory Rodchenkov, the former head of Moscow's discredited anti-doping laboratory, blew the whistle on what he said was a state-sponsored doping program. Russia denies his allegations, saying it is the victim of a politicized dirty trick campaign. The IOC's latest move brings the total number of Russian athletes handed live bans to over 20 this month. Well, that's all on news now. Thanks for watching. I am Fidelia Aguncha.